We're 2 days removed from the previous Why I Want video, which means that it is time for yet another prospect report. Thank you to those in the comment section of the video we did on Ayrton Martino, who commented, "Lancelot, if you want a chance to be featured in the next Why I Want, then stick around to the end of this video here." But today we're going over a guy who is probably one of the most intriguing, higher ceiling guys who could be available in a much later spot in this year's NHL Entry Draft, and the title of this video kind of tells the whole story. Yes, I'm labeling this guy Brad Marchand number 2. Today's Why I Want video is taking our sights over to the QMJHL, talking about, I think this is the first guy we have done in the Q this Why I Want season. So, hello QMJHL representatives over there, welcome to the series. Today we're talking about Halifax Mooseheads second-year QMJHL player Zachary L'Heureux. And before we get any further, I will say, you'll find so many variations on how this guy's name is said. In French, L'Heureux means like the happy one, or the happy, and L'Heureux is quite obviously a French word. You do see a lot of people in general though, even on the CHL's own YouTube channel, talking about it as if it was L'Heureux, but because of the way it's spelled and because he is from Quebec, I'm gonna go out there and just say L'Heureux for this video, so I don't want to see anybody in the comments saying, "Oh, Lego, you're pronouncing his name wrong, it should be L'Heureux." Okay. Today we're talking about Zachary L'Heureux, a guy who a few years ago was seen as a potential top prospect for the 2021 NHL Entry Draft. He's currently an 18-year-old May 2003 born center who played on the wing last season in the QMJHL, 5'11", 196 pounds. So right away, you can see off the bat, this guy, he may not be the tallest in the world, but boy, he's pretty chonky, eh? Either way, though, in the QMJHL's 2019 draft, he was taken 3rd overall by the Moncton Wildcats, and in the 2019-20 season, in his very first year with the Q, he put himself up 53 points in 55 games played, 20 goals, 33 assists for the Wildcats. Absolutely phenomenal player over there. You'll also take a look and see he put up 70 penalty minutes in the games played that he had. We'll get more into that stuff as we go further along in this video, but the Moncton Wildcats in 2019-20 were absolutely fantastic, the second best team in the QMJHL that season, but they didn't get rewarded for it. This team, with all the dominance they had, all the wins and all the points, they didn't get a chance to show off all their skills because the playoffs in the QMJHL were shut down due to the pandemic. Eventually, heading into 2020-2021, Hovanov, McKenna, Pelche, Sear, L'Heureux, Spence, Gruel, and Desnoyers all ended up leaving the team. Some because they got traded away, others because they just graduated out of the QMJHL, and the Moncton Wildcats went out there as one of the teams that was the best in the league in 2019-20 to a middle-tier, low-class kind of team in 2021. They were entering a rebuild. L'Heureux got sent over to the Halifax Mooseheads in exchange for a whole bunch of draft picks, so the Wildcats were pretty much down in the dumps for 2020-2021. Either way, though, adjusting to a new system as a second-year QMJHL player, Zachary L'Heureux went out there as over a point-per-game guy. 33 games played, 19 goals, 20 assists, and 39 total points. You'll note in this season as well, 47 penalty minutes in 33 games played. And you'll also take a look at the rest of the guys on his team and say, hey, L'Heureux only played 33 games. He missed out on a few games. What the heck happened to him? Well, we'll get into that a little bit later. Because in order to understand how everything works the way it does, I think we're going to need to transition into talking about what it is L'Heureux is on the ice and how he puts up his results. Zachary L'Heureux, to me, is a dangerously creative, physical, and skilled fire hydrant that goes out there with a mission every time he steps out onto the ice. Offensively, you can see the numbers right here. He is a point-producing machine. He goes out there with some really slick dangles and really good creative on-the-puck instincts. He's not afraid to do some really crazy things once in a while, go through the legs with a few fancy dekes, or even try the Michigan move. Under pressure, he displays some really good skills to find open teammates and just know where everything is out there on the ice. His creativity to get the puck to teammates under pressure is also really impressive. Not to mention the fact that when he doesn't have the puck, he's always going out there doing something. Whether it's battling in front of the net for a loose rebound and shoving guys away, whether it's fighting in the dirty areas, on the boards, in the corners, again, shoving guys out of the way and getting physical. Zachary L'Heureux is just kind of a guy that does it all, and as a result, they use him on the power play because of his skill and his goal-scoring ability and his knack for finding the front of the net when he doesn't have the puck. and they use him on the penalty kill as well because of his tenacity and his dedication to the game. He's not afraid to go down there, dive to block a shot, and swat the puck out of the zone when shorthanded. He's not afraid to go out there and try some really creative things with the puck on his stick. He's got a whole bunch of skills all over the game, and it's a really good sight to see when Zachary L'Heureux is playing his best. But the biggest thing with L'Heureux is probably his discipline. I say in the title that he is the next Brad Marchand, or he's Marchand 2.0. He actually said himself that he models his own game after Marchand and Matthew Tkachuk specifically. What does that mean? Well, I'll tell you. We've said all this stuff about the physicality and the way he plays the game. He plays the game on an edge, and he's not afraid to demand things physically out there on the ice, even though he's only 5'11", because hey, he's just under 200 pounds. As I said earlier, he's a chonky guy. But Zachary L'Heureux was also suspended 13 games this season. 4 separate suspensions this guy had throughout the year for reasons spanning from high-sticking to unsportsmanlike conducts to fighting after the original altercation is already complete. And in fact, the biggest suspension he had occurred on November 6th, where he was suspended 4 games on the QMJHL year, and you can see right in the box score what exactly it was that caused him to get a game misconduct. He spat on a guy. Yeah, he spat on a guy at the beginning of November when the pandemic was reaching all-time highs in Canada, talking about, social distancing and being aware of all this stuff. Yeah, he goes out there and spits on a kid, okay. Yeah, he plays on an edge, but boy oh boy, does he have an edge that I think a lot of other people don't even really begin to start to match. And the only other guy that I can think of who has that sort of an edge to get under opponent's skin in such a really weird and somewhat disgusting kind of way is Brad Marchand. The licking in the playoffs, man, definitely is not going to leave the minds of any NHL fans anytime soon. But even all the other stuff, the slipperiness in the offensive zone, the creativity, the stick handling, the scoring ability, Brad Marchand is really good at all of that. And Zach L'Heureux honestly has a lot of those similar traits. He is all over the ice, he does things physically, he's really skilled and creative and offensively gifted, and he's also not the biggest guy in the world. And all these things combined, the work ethic, the dual threat, power play, penalty kill usage, the skills, and the lack of discipline to some extent, have made for a prospect whose consolidated ranking is 30th overall. The reason it's 30th is because some people, like TSN and Craig Button, have him as high as 8th overall. Others, like Dauber, have him as low as 40. Future Considerations has him at 45. The Neutral Zone has him at 30. Smart Hockey has him at 35 as well. 11th by the Puck Authority here. This is a guy that could really go anywhere, maybe let's say after 9th, 10th, or 11th overall. And it's the disciplinary issues, it's the uncertainty with how good he is going to develop that I think is holding him back on a lot of draft boards, because in my opinion, L'Heureux is really talented and he maybe has even a top 6 ceiling at the NHL just with all the tools he has. It's just whether or not you're going to get the guy who can go out there, make it through the legs, little move, dipsy doodle around a defender, and then send it out in front for a cross crease, banging away at a rebound in front if it doesn't go in. Or are you going to get the guy who goes out there and spits on his opponent after an altercation and gets suspended 4 separate times in a shortened season? And in fact, there are a few other issues that have been brought up as well. This is what Steve Koreanis of The Draft Analyst said on May 24th. There's a lot of chatter about L'Heureux's on-ice discipline issues following multiple suspensions, but we care a lot more about his complete insignificance against a strong Charlottetown squad with 6 points in 15 games versus his total domination of a lowly Cape Breton Screaming Eagles squad where he had a much bigger chunk of his points. In fact, this is the only little piece that I can find where scouts are actually concerned that against a good team, he's not really producing much. Against a bad team, he's getting a whole bunch of points. I think if you try to take a look at it, these skills are still present in his game no matter who he plays. It's just a matter of whether or not you can go out there and dig these traits out every single night. Because if he does, then man, I would not be surprised if this guy plays similarly to Marchand in the NHL if he ever does make the league. Now, I don't want to say he's going to be a 100-point guy, because Marchand is that, but just stylistically, the things that L'Heureux can do for your hockey team, it's really similar, in my opinion, to what Marchand could do with the Bruins. In fact, they even played on the same junior teams in the QMJHL. Moncton was also Brad Marchand's home for a while, as well as the Halifax Mooseheads, so an even bigger connection lies there. Either way though, talk to me in the comments what you thought about Zachary L'Heureux over here in this entire video for Why I Want. If you made it to the end of this video, then comment in the comment section below Wildcat, because we're still doing superheroes, and obviously he played for the Moncton Wildcats, and Wildcat is a superhero from the DC universe, so there's the connection there. I hope you enjoyed this video, so that trolls and I, and bye.